Welcome back to the Junkyard, everybody. Tonight we have a pre-recorded Skype interview with Aaron Moore, who is running for City Council in Arnold in 2019. Okay, so thanks everybody for joining us. We're here today with Aaron Moore from Arnold, Pennsylvania. Aaron, I understand that you're planning on running for the City Council in Arnold next year. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why it is that you want to run?
Well, starting out, that wasn't my intention. I was just like everybody else going on about, going on about my day till I came across that post, concerning the mayor of Arnold. And as I got more involved with that, it made me realize that, our two cities, Arnold and New Kensington, but specifically Arnold needs, diverse, diverse people on their councils and either mayoral positions or even, as far as city hall, just need more, more people of color and more women, that need to step up and do what's right in the community.
And as a resident of New Kensington, I think it's safe to say that both city councils are definitely not diverse right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty obvious when you walk in. It's mostly men, mostly white men. The only two women I can really think of are Arnold City Council and Mayor of Arnold. They have two women involved there.
Yeah,
So,
and what I think about, Arnold City Council is, although, there are women, like the mayor's a woman and there's a councilwoman, they don't get along. You know what I mean? And that's not beneficial to the city. When there's in-house fighting, when the mayor fights with council, council fights with mayor or the chief of police or what have you, then the community gets lost in all of that. You know what I mean? I would like to, being on council, I would like to bring, reel that in and get a better relationship with the new mayor, and get people on board with expanding, our ideas out in the community, as far as people stepping up and trying to make a difference.
let's talk a little bit more about each of those individually, too. The mayor of Arnold, Karen Piccone Barocchi, however many names you want to use for her, she's definitely had a trying time recently. Chief Eric Doubt has had some issues where he's been at odds with council too, from what I understand. And it seems that council itself bands together for the most part. And the councilmen and councilwoman all seem to be moving in the same direction, but Mayor Piccone doesn't necessarily seem to be moving with them. And I don't know if you'd like to talk a little bit about that, maybe talk a little bit about the recent issues that Mayor Piccone's found herself involved in.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I've seen even before, Mayor Piccone's actions, I've been to council meetings and I know and seen for myself that, there's certain individuals that the mayor of Arnold doesn't like, doesn't particularly care for. Matter of fact, Councilman Bia and the woman, I can't remember, Vernon, Councilwoman Vernon, and they backed Mayor Piccone. They were in her corner for a long time, so that's why things seem to have been moving in one direction, because it was the mayor and these two council people that were pushing their agenda. It wasn't until after the mayor, posted what she posted. It wasn't until after then that Councilman Bia and Councilwoman Vernon, basically turned their backs on, because they didn't want. I believe, this is my personal opinion, I believe that they didn't want time for that. So.
And that's certainly understandable. I know I've covered it on my channel before, Mayor Piccone's Facebook post suggesting that we turn water cannons on the Antoine Rose protesters. It's certainly in New Kensington and Arnold, with the civil rights history in this area, didn't go over very well with many people at all.
Yes, yes. And it was, and I like to be clear on that it was not only, people of color that was offended by what she posted. It was also, white people, because going back to civil rights, white people have died also fighting for civil rights for people of color. And it's important that we realize that, when we put a certain group, over here and another group over there, then that caused division. So it's clear that people, white people fought along black people in the civil rights movement, just like white people stood up, against her comments, as well as black people in this community.
Yeah, we can see in my initial video from the council public comment section from 2 months ago, we definitely had a really good mix of people, young and old, black and white, people from every walk of life that were talking and speaking out.
Absolutely. And then that's what's important for a community. Unfortunately, it had to take that for the community to band together. But, once we, start, being more positive and trying to move in a positive direction, then I think the community will stay banded together. But it's still, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to people showing up to vote, because that's the only real change it's going to take, to get the mayor out. That's the only move that we have to get her out.
And not only do people need to vote, but people need to do some research on their candidates. Mayor Coney, from my understanding, was voted in as the Democratic candidate for the mayor of Arnold. She ran as a Democrat, and she had Democrat support for a while. And then she suddenly turned around and made comments that definitely would not be endorsed by the party, given our history. It's probably a good time for me and you to say that we're both members of the Westmoreland County Democratic Committee. So we're definitely concerned about the party's feelings on the matter and how it's affecting other candidates in this area, since Westmoreland County, outside of New Kensington and Arnold, has very little showing for Democrat voters.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's important. Also, like in her position, that she's what you call imitation Democrat, or you know what I mean? She acts like a Democrat, because here in New Kensington and Arnold, the only way you're really going to get voted into office is to be a Democrat.
Right.
So Republicans know that, so they just switch parties. But on top of all that, I think her running for mayor wasn't. I think it wasn't done for the good of the community. I think she was put in a position to promote people that are a part of this entity that has ran New Kensington Arnold probably for far too long. So, that's my opinion. And I would like to, like me personally, running for city council, I would like to, be a fresh face, away from the norm. You know what I mean? Away from the, cattiness and the pettiness and all that type of stuff, and get down to business to what my community means to me.
Yeah, and you mentioned her running as a fake Democrat, for lack of a better term. My wife and I have come up with the term "dino" for Democrat in name only. It seems to fit into what the Republican Party was going through a few years back, where they had similar issues. People running under that particular party because they knew that was the only way they were going to win a local election, and they had their rhinos, their Republicans in name only. It's unfortunate that we're in that position, and it's definitely unfortunate that our area needs as much change as it does. So it's good to see fresh blood wanting to get into local politics. It's good to see somebody who's been active in the community.
Yeah, I think it's vital. It's vital for the community. You know what I mean? It's we need to, like I said earlier, we need the city councils and the mayoral positions and all that to start looking like the cities that they represent. if you have a diverse community, there's no way in the world that all white people can tell the conditions or fix the conditions or help change the conditions of people of color.
I'd have to agree with that. I always tell the story of growing up. I was one of two white kids in a predominantly African American neighborhood in New Kensington. And I feel like I have a better understanding of the cultural differences and the differences between how people have been treated over the years based on race. But I can't claim to understand it in my heart the way somebody growing up in that situation would.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, like I grew up a little bit about my back history. Is I grew up in the projects, a single mom. I was an alcoholic at 14. I dipped and dabbed with drugs. I wasn't a drug addict. I was an alcoholic. You know what I mean? I was alcoholic for a long time. And, it just took me as I got older, because I drank all the way up until I was probably 30, a lot, up until I was like 37, and that's just 10 years ago, because I'll be 47 on Thursday. You know what I mean? So, I drank a lot, but what it took was me surrounding myself with people that cared about me way more than I cared about myself. And they showed it. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that people know that, you don't have to be a victim of your surrounding and being in poverty and, alcoholic and things like that. That's a mindset that has to change. You have to want to change. You know what I mean? And I wanted to change it. And now, like, I could sit back and enjoy my life and not worry about a thing and going about my business. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to take people or help people recognize that their condition doesn't have to be where they're at.
All right, so getting back to the topic of Mayor Piccone, as much as I hate to keep beating a dead horse, at the comments section of the comments portion of the last council meeting, some people did bring up the racist comments she had made on Facebook, and we're just going to flat out call them racist at this point because there's no use in denying that's what they were. But Mayor Piccone, and I'm paraphrasing here, basically said, I'm sick of hearing about this. They were never intended to be racist comments, and it wasn't racist until Councilman Phil McKinley, made it racist. I wanted to get your take on all of that. I commented a little bit about it in a video I put up on YouTube last night. I ranted for about 12 minutes about Mayor Piccone and her attitude. But I want to get your take on it. If you're going to be running for council, there's every possibility that she's not going to resign. She's going to still be in office next year. So I want to know how you feel about what she said and how you feel that you would be positioned to best work with her in that type of an environment where you might be going head to head with somebody who feels the way she does.
Well, when she was at the meeting, when she said she's tired of hearing it, I kindly told her, well, we're not going anywhere, and she'll continue to hear it because what a smack in the face it was to the community to tell the community that she's tired of hearing when she's the reason this has happened. So how can you create something and then when you had enough of it, just pass it off like I'm sick of hearing it. You know what I mean? And that's a smack in the face to the community. You know what I mean? Because not just for this issue, but if it's something that the community really wants or goes to the mayor, and she seeks their opinions, if they keep telling her something over and over again, what's her response going to be? Well, I'm sick of hearing that. I'm going to do what I want. You know what I mean? That's not fair. That's not the attitude a person in her position should have.
Okay.
It's a blatantly say it to the community was blatantly saying, I don't give a damn what you guys have to say. And that's what I took from it. Now moving forward with myself, running for council and maybe, being on council and her still being the mayor. Listen, I'll be transparent with everything that goes on. You know what I mean? And I'll be in the community and see what the needs, of the community are. And when I bring them to her, and whatever attitude or whatever response that she gives me, I'll give the community fresh, because when she's in there, she has to be accountable for her actions, her words, everything. And I think the city council now, they're so bent on being vindictive, so they don't get what they want, so they try side things to get back at it. I'm grown. I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? It's not about me. It's not about her. It's about the community. And it's about transparency, and it's about doing what's best, you know, for the people that put you in that position.
So you see position on council as being more about being a representative of the community versus being a mouthpiece for the mayor's office, if I understand you correctly.
Absolutely. I mean, that's an important position, being on council, any elected position, or even volunteer. You know what I mean? When you put yourself in positions, it's no longer about you. It's about something bigger than you. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's not about, fighting with the mayor or fighting with other city councilmen, because we're all supposed to be in there for the sole purpose of making the conditions in our community better.
So we had talked a little bit during the last council meeting, and I know the concerned POC had brought it up about the recreation committee that Arnold had previously that was disbanded due to lack of participation, and now it looks like the citizens of Arnold are interested in bringing that back and working together. Presumably both to help Phil McKinley with keeping up the local parks and keeping staff in Roosevelt Park so that the kids can play, keeping things up for the Fireman's Park down at the end of Dre Street, making sure it's nice so that the kids can use it, and also finding things for the youth in the community to do to keep them out of trouble, for lack of a better term. So I wanted to hear a little bit about that, because I know you're one of the people that's been vocal about keeping youth out of trouble. And you're one of the people that's been vocal about, the potential of bringing back this recreation committee, especially given that we had the chance to talk about it last month. And unfortunately, the CDBG grant had to be voted on last month, so it got brought up too late to really be part of that vote. So how would you like to push forward with that for the remainder of this year, and then possibly moving into next year when a new community development block grant becomes available?
Well, our first call to action, as far as the recreational committee, there were, this goes back to, I guess, I forget the guy that said Scarpinetti, or not Scarpinetti, one of the guys on the council said that there wasn't a recreational committee for 10 years, and that's kind of funny, because, Dawn McKinley and Melissa Charleston, they did things, they were the recreational committee, but they weren't officially the recreational committee. And that goes back to what I was saying as far as the infighting. The mayor doesn't like Phil McKinley, so Dawn McKinley is on the recreational committee. So anything that they tried to do, she would stop. You know what I mean? So moving forward, we'll have a meeting. My group, the concerned people in the community, a lot of people from there, and Dawn McKinley, Melissa Charleston, we're having a meeting this Thursday, September 6th. So it's a short meeting, just to see who all wants to be involved, and see where we move forward. We're going to try. We're having it Thursday, because next week Tuesday is the council meeting.
Right.
So we have this in place to be able to get the recreational committee on the agenda, so it's recognized as the recreational committee. So that way, that'll take away, hopefully, the backdoor, antics that they've been doing before. Let's get this on the books. Let's make it part of the agenda. Let's make it legit. and our first call of action will be to have Roosevelt Park open from dawn till dusk every day. No monitors. No monitors as far as people having to be there and watch the kids and all that. See if the police can, open it at dawn and close it at dusk. That's our first, call to action for the mayor and the chief and the council.
Okay, and I know Mayor Piccone always likes to talk about how she's done so many good things for the community. What would you guys like to see as far as her involvement with that? Would you want her to be either part of the committee or somehow involved to work with you guys to help facilitate things in the city?
I think, I don't think we don't want her to help plan. We don't want her to be a part of the committee. No, I mean, we want her to recognize the committee and to get involved or show up, at events. We have events. We expect to have the mayor present, the chief of police present, and city council. And I understand that, people's schedules change, things like that. But, I think it's vital she said she loved the community. Now it's time to, be a part of the community, show up in the community. I mean, there's events I've been to that I haven't seen the mayor at all, ever, at none of the events. And there was just a back to school bath. It would have been a perfect opportunity. That was at Roosevelt. Would have been a perfect opportunity to have the mayor there, have the chief of police there, to meet the kids and, let the kids meet the mayor. That's something that's important. Kids go back and say, yeah, I met the mayor today. You know what I mean? That's what the position calls for. Someone who doesn't have to continuously say how much they love the community because their actions show that.
It seems odd to me as a mayor of a third class city not being as involved in those events. Over here in New Kent, we're used to seeing Mayor Tom Guzzo out and about during these events and talking to people afterward, talking to members of the community. He certainly seems to have the PR side of things down a little bit better, and he really does seem to listen and pay attention and care about what's going on. And I could certainly see that being beneficial to the people of Arnold, the children of Arnold, and would definitely be helpful getting them more involved.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, since I was, growing up, I knew, when the police used to give out baseball cards and, just things like that to get the respect of the kids, in the community. Shannon Santucci Davis, she does just that. She reaches out to the young kids. At any given time she's on duty, you could see her pulled over, talking to the kids. She's the one that actually hosted the back to school bath. And she did it independent of the police department in Arnold, independent of the mayor and the city council. She did it on her own through her church. And that speaks a lot when an officer in the community has to go outside of the police department to make a difference.
It does. It really does. And I don't know if you were able to notice if it showed on camera or not. I've got my memoriam shirt for Officer Brian Shaw on today. And I don't know if you and I ever talked about this. Brian was the patrol officer for my neighborhood when he was working for the City of New Kensington Police. He was a good guy. He, younger guy, obviously, but he used to like to pull over and talk to the children while they were out playing, talk to their parents. My son got to know him that way. My wife got to know him that way. Unfortunately, he died less than 1,000 feet from our house. It was a horrible night for all of us.
You know what?
He was the epitome of what good policing is in a small community.
I didn't know him personally, but being that I'm from New Kensington, You know what I mean? And the chief at the time, Chief Klein, you know, I've got to know him because I'm also on the youth commission. So I've got to know Chief Klein. So, you know, being from New Kensington and seeing that the officer got killed, you know, I was impelled. I felt impelled to go to the funeral home. You know what I mean? Because even though I didn't know him, he was still a part of what makes our community good. And I felt the need to go to the funeral home and go to, you know, his viewing. And I was at work when the day they buried him and had their procession coming through Lower Borough. We came at the end of Sylvan Drive out there and stood out there until all the cars went past. You know, unfortunately, I mean, it was a sad occasion, but I like seeing the unity, you know, in the police force.
It was good to see all the officers come together from all over the local areas. It was good to see the people come together too. You know, my day job is in McKees Rocks, and I'm the only person from New Kensington over there. One of my coworkers is from Plum. And the day of the funeral, we watched the live stream of the entire funeral, the procession, the ceremony, and all. And you know, everybody was respectful, and you know, everybody definitely understood the pain that we were going through as a community.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad and unfortunate that not only um, in our communities, New Kensington and Arnold, but across the nation, that the only time people really come together is in crisis. You know what I mean? In sad events, you know, like just over the past 5 days with Senator John McCain. You know, that was a sad event, but it brought people. I think it brought people together, and it showed bipartisanship. You know what I mean? It showed that, you know, coming together instead of this division. You know, where our country is now, they're coming together, Democrat or Republican, you know, liberal, conservative, black, white, you know, all that type of stuff. There's nothing more than divisional to it, you know, and you know, over these past 2 days, it shows that, you know, and I still see the message today that, you know, people talking about bipartisanship, coming together to get rid of this nastiness that's happening in our country.
Yeah, Senator McCain was definitely a good one for that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Republican, somebody that I would have been more supportive of in the presidential race if he had had a better running mate. And, you know, good guy, definitely. He didn't care what you were, who you were, where you came from, as long as you were respectful and you wanted to work together to fix the problems.
That's how it should be, man. Like I said, with these, you know, around here, because I know making a difference. The only way that any of us can make a difference, it starts on a local level. We have a direct impact on what, you know, what kind of changes that we want. All it takes is for people to step up and get involved. You know, people, you know, over the past couple months, I've got tired of hearing that my vote doesn't count, you know, or, you know, they're going to pick who they want anyway. You know, when people, you know, lessen themselves to that, then of course it's always going to be the same. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, if you continuously stay out of it and say, oh, they're going to put in who they want, they can't put in who they want. We put in who we want. You know, and I wish people would understand that. You know, I hope, you know, when I start, when it's time for me to start running for city council, I hope that people, you know, don't say, well, you know, he's not going to win, or they're going to vote him in because he's black, or none of that. You know what I mean? Because it's not about that. It's for the betterment of we have some really good people in this community, you know, and if I can lead by example to bring them good people out of the woodwork, I'll do it every time.
Definitely have a lot of good people in Arnold. Yeah. That's coming back to New Kent after being away for a few years. I'm coming to realize how many of the good people I dealt with in my life outside of town were actually from right here. And it's amazing every time I walk into a council meeting and I see familiar faces that I never realized were local.
Yeah, yeah. That's how me and you met through George.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I didn't know George. I forget who I think Lorraine Petrosky, got me in touch with George, and that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't have known anything about you. I wouldn't have known anything about George had I not, stepped up and, took some action, you know,
Yeah,
and, and, and good paths lead to good people.
right.
That's what
Yeah,
happens.
my first committee meeting, Bob Reckline introduced me to George, and George introduced me to half the room.
His
You
son's
know,
really, his son's really good.
he is, he is,
Uh,
and
but
yeah, he's definitely a good influence for all of us.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's nice to see some of these younger kids stepping up, and like John McCabe and and others to step up and they're trying to make a difference, man. You know what I mean? I haven't seen this in forever. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't seen someone 20 years old or younger, or just a little bit older, you know, getting involved and wanting to make change, and that's what happened. Sitting back and let the same old continue. I mean, it's time for change. That's it. I'm excited
And
to be a part of that. So,
oh, definitely. And looking back at it too, when Barack Obama was running for president for his first term, I mean, for as much as people say he didn't get a lot done over the course of 8 years, one thing he did do is instill this idea of change in all of our heads.
absolutely,
And it's not coming back out. Now we all realize that we can't be satisfied with the status quo because the status quo doesn't work for everybody.
absolutely, absolutely. They work for their best interest, man, and it's not just the people in Washington's America. You know what I mean? It's not just the mayors of these cities and governors of these towns and states and all that. It's not just their America. You know what I mean? This is our America, and we have just as much as a voice as they have. They started from somewhere. You know what I mean? They like Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Bob Casey, they all started from somewhere. Some people's paths were a little harder. You know what I mean? But the end result was the same. And that alone, like I said, it's not just the governors, the mayors, the state representatives, the president, the vice. It's not just their America. And that's what people need to understand. We also have a voice. They're supposed to work for us. You
Right.
know, they're supposed to work for us. So, just like when you go to work, you go to work, we work for the boss. We do the best job we can do. When things aren't right, we speak up about it. That's how it works with politics. When things don't work, you speak up about it. You know what I mean? Until we get it to work.
And we've made some good changes locally and at the state level in regard to a variety of things. I'm going to throw you a bit of a curveball now. My wife wanted me to bring this one up with pretty much everybody in local politics I talk to because it's a front of mind concern for her, especially given where we live and having young children. So the state of Pennsylvania recently made it legal for residents to use airborne fireworks as long as they're within state law. And that's something that hadn't been legal before, even though it was certainly done all the time. And it's always been popular in New Kensington and Arnold. So the last couple of days, I've noticed around here we've been playing the wonderful game of is it fireworks or gunshots as some of the neighborhood kids are shooting things off. And, we noticed in the state law there's a distance requirement. You have to be so many feet from a structure to be able to use airborne devices. And there's really not too many places in the cities of New Kensington and Arnold that qualify under that distance requirement.
Is it 1,000 feet from a?
At the very least, I know it's at least 100. I'd have to look up the actual law myself, but 1,000 feet would definitely be more sensible given how far some of those things can move.
Yeah, I think it's 1,000 feet from a structure. And there's a group called New Kent Initiative that is pushing for the mayor of New Kent and the police department to do something. Because there's not any place around New Kensington and Arnold that is legal to shoot off these fireworks.
And it's certainly understandable why. We live in a house on Leishman Avenue. It's 100 years old. It's balloon framing, balloon structure. So if a fire were to start anywhere in the building, with the absence of decent fire blocks, it would move through rather quickly. And the houses here, many of them are less than 12 feet apart from each other. At 12 feet's the minimum distance under New Kensington's code for you to have a fire pit. You have to maintain 12 feet from any structure or tree. So even that's difficult sometimes. But
Here at my house, one night I kept hearing something, and it sounded like something was hitting my house. I heard fireworks. I heard something's hitting my house. I go in the back, and the guy or whoever it was across the alley in their backyard were shooting bottle rockets towards my house, towards the neighbor's houses. I mean, like, consistently.
That's very common in my neighborhood.
Yeah, and I woke up the next day and I was getting ready to go cut grass, and there's bottle rockets in my backyard, on my carport. I said, listen, that ain't happening no more. If they send out any more bottle rockets, I'm gonna have to go down there and let them know that that's if one of them land on my roof and it's still hot, catches on fire, then what? You know what I mean? So I believe something needs to be done. I'm not sure, how they would do it, but I mean, even there's also a time with the law, the time you can set them off, the time you have to stop. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like I said, I'm not sure of how they can monitor that because not everybody reads law. All people know is fireworks are legal.
Yeah.
They don't know the law about the distance and things like that. I think before they implemented, or changed that law, there should have been some type of safety pamphlet or something that went out to everyone in the newspaper, anything to let in neighborhoods how close or how far away you have to be from structure.
I know personally I'd love to see some safety training and educational materials coming from the fire departments, both New Kensington and Arnold. We've got some really good people working in both departments. That would be wonderful to present that to kids, even to adults that are willing to attend, just to make sure that people aren't getting hurt and nobody's, accidentally causing a catastrophe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the fireworks, for the longest time that I've known, people would go to Ohio or wherever else and buy, smuggle in the fireworks. Now that they're legal, like I said, the average Joe isn't going to read the law on fireworks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just, all they know is fireworks are legal, and that's it. So there definitely needs to be something done here in Arnold and in New Kensington, like you said, with the fire departments, or get a pamphlet out or get something out to explain the dangers of setting fireworks off in neighborhoods. That reminds me of when when you used to be able to throw your TVs away.
Right.
To put them out for garbage. So now they made this law to where you can't put it out for garbage, but they didn't have a plan B. So now you have TVs in alleys, and you know what I'm saying, because there wasn't a plan B. So
Right.
I think before they change laws or make laws or whatever, there needs to be a plan B.
Something I bet you probably didn't know, and a lot of the people watching this probably didn't know. Those fireworks tents that pop up everywhere for the 4th of July every year. There's only
Uh-huh.
two companies that run those in the state of Pennsylvania. One's local out of Donegal, the other one's out of Harrisburg. Both of them obviously were very excited when they realized they could expand their inventory this year. But I think there maybe legally there should be a little bit of an onus on them to provide educational and safety materials when they're selling those items as well.
I agree. I mean, everyone involved should be held accountable. You know what I mean? I mean, they know, being that they sell these fireworks and things like that, hopefully, they know what they're selling and know the background of the damage that fireworks can do. And absolutely, there needs to be shit when they hand out fireworks, hand out a safety pamphlet with the law on.
Exactly.
Something. Yeah.
Something. Yes, I mean,
They
you
bear
can't
some
say,
of the responsibility also.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But yeah, you can't sell a kid a BB gun anymore without there being a booklet full of safety information attached and a legal guardian there to make sure that everything's on the up and up.
Absolutely. So that way, when they say the fireworks, the people that sell them, they have, say, a pamphlet, a safety pamphlet in there. It's required by law to have that safety pamphlet. Well, you know, that takes the liability off of them because they supplied the safety book. You know what I
Right.
mean? With the law on it. So, and the law's printed on it, and if you purchase it, it's up to you as the purchaser to read the booklet. So that way you can't say, well, I didn't get that with my fireworks. You know what I mean? It came with your fireworks. So now the
Right.
burden is on you, the responsibility is on you to do your work.
So earlier on, you had mentioned John McCabe. Obviously, he's running this year. Viviana Valerio's been making appearances. She's running this year. I know you said earlier that you wanted to get out and help canvass for the local Democratic candidates. So who is it that you're supporting this year? Who is it that you'd like to canvass for? And if you could give us some reasons why, maybe some of what you'd like to take away from their messages that you think we could apply locally.
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, I'll be supporting Vivi. She's a really nice lady, and on top of that, I believe that she's sincere when she says that she's going to work more on this side of the county. To push for things, and she's open and she's ready for change. She's everywhere. She's like Superwoman. She's
Is
everywhere, and I strongly push for her because she, like I said, she seems sincere. When I've met her a couple times, quite a few times, and she's really sincere, and she's the change that we need. Because I've always said from when I first, started talking to the group that we're affiliated with, Voice of Westmoreland, uh, and they started introducing me to, Rachel Shaw and Bibby and, getting me more, out there with these candidates and even, Claire Dooley. She's running for state representative. She's awesome, but she, Bibby came here, we met in Roosevelt, there was quite a few of us, and we ran some ideas past her, about fiber industry, what they plan on doing it, and a couple other things that New Kensington is trying to do. And she's really a sincere woman. And I believe that she's one that, when she said that she's going to get the job done, the job's going to get done.
And you mentioned Voices of Westmoreland. That's another name of a group that we hear a lot floating around here. I don't know how many people really locally know what it is they do. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Voices of Westmoreland, I could only, they're a grassroots group. They started a year and a half ago. They have really passionate people like Claire Dooley and Angela and Stephanie and John Lowry. They're really really good people. They're a grassroots group, get support candidates, and they also rally for change. And they're mainly out in the Greensburg area, but they're Westmoreland, so they've been coming out here and helping us with the canvas with the mayor, and they'll be out here helping the Democratic committee canvas for for votes and to get people registered, and things like that, and just to get the Bibby's name, John McCabe, all them, just to get them out there, their message out there. Just canvassing, going door to door, going to the Democrats, and also I'll take advantage of seeing what people want and their needs are in the community moving forward with me running for city council. So they're a really good grassroots group that started in Westmoreland and Greensboro.
Okay. And yeah, definitely, getting people registered to vote is important, especially young people. We used to have a wonderful government and economics teacher in our senior year in high school, Ron Sheets. One of his big things was getting all of the outgoing seniors registered to vote when they turned 18, because that's really the only way you can make a difference and have your voice be heard. And I want to make sure that I remember to put a lower third up here when I edit the video with the website for Vote PA, so that you can register to vote in both local, state, and, of course, national elections. So I want to make sure anybody watching this who is eligible but not yet registered gets the opportunity to do that as soon as possible. You're also a member of the Concerned People of the Community, another group that's popped up recently with the issues surrounding Mayor Piccone. What are the goals for that group, and what plans do you guys have for the future? So, we're all hopeful that the Mayor Piccone issue doesn't stick around forever. So I'd like to know, what kind of other change you guys think you can have in the community through the Concerned People of the Community.
Well, I mean, our group is exactly what it says. It's for the people in our community that feel like they don't have a voice. They can join our group, but they don't have to join. They can just reach out to us, tell us their concerns. We'll figure out a plan on how we want to go about taking action. We want that to be around not just for the mayor, just for everyone, man. So people know that they have a voice, know that they have people behind them that will rally for them, push for them until their voice is heard. And, I'm excited about the group. It's a little group, it's a grassroots group. And hopefully, we'll start expanding more, but we're not going anywhere. I think concerned people in the community, I think we're here to stay. And I think people like, the idea of having a voice. Whether it's Arnold, New Kensington, school board, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, any issue that people feel that they have, and they feel like their voice isn't being heard, our logo is Can. So we can do anything, as long as we have help. As long as we have, there's power in numbers. And we can do anything with those numbers.
So what is your one issue, the one thing that you would like to tackle and begin tackling as soon as you get voted into city council?
Well, it's looking like that I'll be, when I run, it'll be for parks and recreation. So when you go to the city council, whether it's New Kensington or Arnold, a lot of the concerns people have is there's nothing for their kids to do. I'm not too familiar with the CDGD fund, but I know next year, it's for low or middle income families. So I would like to, learn a little bit more about that so we can have a little bit more recreational, maybe even a building, that the funds can go towards to GED classes or just learning how to finance, your money and like mental health, because a lot of change requires your mental health, and don't want people to, get this, think that I think they're crazy or anything, but mental health is just as important as physical health. So that's what I would like to tackle. Being that I came from the projects and single mom and alcohol, I'd like to get some type of rehab groups or anything like that to take people out of their condition.
I know 30 years ago, when I was my son's age, we had really good mental health services here in New Kensington. We had really good medical services here in New Kensington. And through the YMCA and some other organizations, we had some wonderful recreational options. And we had good programs for kids over the summer when they weren't in school, but they had working parents that couldn't necessarily spend the entire summer with them. I know personally I'd love to see a lot of that come back.
Oh, absolutely, man, absolutely. I mean, that's what it requires. It requires all of us to take some type of action. I mean, our community deserves it. It definitely deserves it. There's too many people in these communities that I see that are going left unnoticed because, especially here in Arnold, because there's so much infighting and tit for tat and pettiness, and that's the time for that to stop. It's time to get down to what you're elected for, and even if you have disagreements, find a middle ground. Because, like I said, you have to fight for something that's bigger than yourself.
So what do you feel about, working across the border with some of the resources available here in New Kensington to help make improvement? For example, working with the Westmoreland County Community College campus here in New Ken for continuing adult education and jobs training programs, working with the Valley Points YMCA over here in New Kensington to possibly even complete a rec center that kids in both communities could use, and to provide sports programs and other programs to give these children something to do so that they're not wandering down that dark path and getting themselves into trouble.
It's a collective. Like it has to. New Ken is Arnold. Arnold is New Ken. You know what I mean? I mean, they're two different cities, but they're all in the same school. So all these kids are New Ken. All these kids are Arnold. It's all across the board. You know what I mean? And there can't be true change until you reach across. Put your egos to the side and reach across and make something happen. You know what I mean? Like for me, I'm from New Ken, but I hung out in Arnold. I mean, it's like if I go past Mr. Jimmy's barber shop, I'm in Arnold.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a hop, skip, and a jump. So to me, even though the city's names are different, the communities are the same. So reaching across, that's only the smart thing to do.
So you said that if you were to get on the council, it would probably be for the Parks and Recreation position. That's a position currently held by Phil McKinley. Given the mayor's feelings toward the current holder of that position, do you really think you'd be comfortable doing that?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be comfortable doing that. Like I said, man, however the mayor feels about Phil, however Phil feels about the mayor, the community gets lost in that. You know what I mean? It really gets lost. And Phil's a good friend of mine. You know what I mean? But it's time for change. It's time for change across the board on the council. Whether his position's up, Councilwoman Vernon, Joe Dia, it's just time for change. Nothing personal at all, but it's just time for change.
Fresh blood, fresh ideas.
That's it, And I mean, he did his. I mean, I don't know how long. I think he might have just been in there, however long that he was in there. It's all of them. It's been probably long enough. I
Always
mean,
seems like it's longer than it should be. Is how it usually seems in politics.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's when things when the infighting becomes too much, then it's time for new blood.
Yeah.
You got to be familiar with each other. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
time for new blood. And the mayor, not only from what she posted, she needs to go, but just because the only reason I believe that she was put there was to benefit someone else. It wasn't for the community. So just for that reason, not alone, but collectively those reasons, she shouldn't be in that position. And if people, watch this that are on that side, you know, you have to realize that it's not about power. It's not about familiar faces. You just vote because the name sounds familiar. It's about the community. And at the end of the day, we're all affected in the community by poor decisions.
All right. So thank you, Aaron Moore, for joining us today and for taking the time to have this conversation with us. Aaron, of course, is going to be running next year, that's 2019, for the open Arnold City Council position. And Aaron, was there anything you'd like to finish with?
I'd just like to say, when you're at the voting booth, keep me in mind. Look out for my name. Uh, I'm here for change. It's about time we have change. It's all about the community. So when you go to the polls and you feel like, well, I want to go with familiar, just remember what familiar have done with you over the past decade, and go against your familiar. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Aaron, and best of luck in the races.
Thank you, sir.